Today, I'm working in the depot workshop using a Silhouette Cameo machine to cut out masking tape to cover the windows of a GP30 locomotive I will be painting. I will be changing the paint scheme of engine 1236 to the yellow war bonnet scheme shown in the photo. Silhouette cutting machines are great for cutting out intricate shapes that are much too small to do by hand. This saves a lot of time when you have a locomotive to paint, especially if you have multiple locomotives to do. I begin by measuring the window openings with a digital caliper. I measure the width and height of each window opening and write down the dimensions on a notepad. I also measure the short hood so I can make a mask for the yellow trim around the edge of the hood. Then I take the dimensions to my computer and make a CAD drawing of each window opening. If you don't have CAD, you can take your dimensions directly to the Silhouette Studio and start drawing them out. Here is my CAD drawing of the window openings and the short hood mask for the Proto 2000 GP30 locomotive. Now we are ready to draw the window and hood mask in Silhouette Studio. Silhouette Studio has a CAD reader that can be purchased separately. I don't have it yet, so I will have to redraw the CAD drawings in Silhouette Studio. The short hood mask is the hardest to do, so I will start with it. I'm starting with the center line of the hood mask. Typing in the dimension it needs to be. And the center line is actually two parts. There's a long section and a short section. So next I'll do the short section on the end of the long section. I haven't been able to find the snap to line feature for Design Studio, so I have to zoom in and do it real slowly and carefully, because you need to make sure that all these lines are connected, because when you send it to cut, if they're not connected, the cut won't be finished. Now these vertical lines are just guidelines so that I can draw the other lines that I need. You can see them on the CAD drawing that I have put in the description. It would go a lot faster if I could find the snap tool for this program. If anybody out there knows how to do that, please share it with us in the comments, because I have not even been able to find it online so far. I did find a snap to grid feature, but there's not always a grid where you need to snap a line, so that doesn't do us much good in this instance. I'm going to use red color for the guidelines and black for the main body of the mask. Right here I'm starting to draw the upper line for the mask. I need to shorten the center line a little bit. And I'm nudging it over with the left and right cursor arrows a little at a time, because with the cursor arrows I can do real fine increments and get it placed exactly where I need it. I'm going to redraw the upper line to the proper dimension. If you hold down the shift key while you drag, it'll make the line perfectly horizontal or perfectly vertical, whichever way you're going. Now, since that's a body line, I will turn it black. And this is a main line, so I will turn it black. Now I'm ready to draw the horizontal main line, which is the same as the top one, same length. Then the final rear angle line. And then finally the two front angle lines. Erase the red guidelines. Turn the center line black. And now we have the mask hood complete. Now I'm going to grab the whole hood mask and move it to the left so we have room for our windows. Just clicked on the rounded corner rectangle tool. And now I'm going to punch in the dimensions. I just drew a basic shape and I'm changing it to horizontal. And then I will type in the exact dimensions that it's supposed to be. Now there's our basic size. And then you just hold down the shift key while you drag this control point up, and we make that corner small. And it works pretty good to fit the corners in the window glass on the model. And I believe this is the first, this is the side window, the large side window. And so we have our first, we need two of those. So in a minute here, I'll make a copy. And of it, so we'll have enough. In fact, I usually make extra copies of everything so we don't have to run the machine again if we need more. I'm just going to kind of bunch them up so they take up less tape to cut out. And here I'm raising it up a little bit so I can put another one below. Trying to figure out exactly where I want it. Then I just copy and paste a duplicate copy. Now there's the two that we need for the model, but we'll go ahead and make a couple more in case we tear one or the glue gets to where it's not sticky or we have any kind of a problem, we'll have a couple extra. Now we can go to the next window on the list, pick the rounded rectangle tool again. And type in our exact dimension that we want. And then hold the shift key down while we drag our control points again to make our corners small. And this is the front window, if I remember right, after looking out the front. There's one of these on each side of the windshield. And then there's one at the back of one of the cab doors. So we need 3 of these total. And then we need one just like it, but real skinny for the other side door, back door. Sometimes I use the cursor to move them over. Sometimes I just drag them with the mouse. Doing it with the cursor is more precise. Oh, these must be the 4 cab windows. Those 2 to the left must be the 2 windshield pieces. I had to change the curvature on the corners a little bit, so that's why I erased those 3. They were a little bit too big a radius, so I made them over. Yeah, this is the skinny window for the back door. Also, you see a small padlock up there by the width and height dimension box just to the right. Make sure that's unlocked when you're putting in custom numbers, because it will, if it's locked, it'll just keep resetting to whatever it wants to. The ones I'm drawing now are the windshields. I don't know what those other two over there on the left are. The two horizontal ones. I thought those were the windshield, but evidently not, because I'm drawing windshields shape now. We need two windshield pieces because it's a split windshield. That'll give us an extra one. Now I'm saving the file. Silhouette gives you an option of saving it to your hard drive or saving it to their library. And I usually put everything in their library, and then I don't get it mixed up with my other stuff. Now I grouped them all together so I can move them over and make an extra hood mask. All right, now we got two in case we mess one up. So I'll save it again to keep the changes. Make sure you're in the right folder and then hit the save or hit the OK. So that white section up there, that represents our 1.5 inch wide tape. So now we send it over to cut and send it to the machine. All right, so we got it sent over to the cutting machine, and it's getting ready to make the cut. Here we go. It's all done. And now we can unload it. Just have to carefully remove these from the Silhouette pad. I like to put them on this little craft paper thing because they don't stick, or they're easy to take off from there. These are the windshield pieces. These two little ones here are for this little bitty window that's right over here on this side of the cab. Just have to be careful you don't wrinkle up your masking as you take it off. Get it started and then pull it. Oop, that one tore. Alright, this is another small cab door window right here. Always make a few extra of each one. Oh, like for this one right here, I only need one, but I made 3. Because it's easy to tear one or break it. So it always pays to have a few extra. These are the side windows that go right here. I only need 2 of those, but I made 4. Just like that one there, wrinkled up on me. Might be able to save it. Yeah, I think I'll be able to save that, but I got extras anyway. And then this is the mask for this hood right here. So I need 1 of those, but I got 2. The bigger they are, the harder they are to get off without damaging them. Oh, I had a line drawn there, so it cut that in half. I should have marked it and told it not to cut that line. Probably going to have to do these over. However, it might be easier to put them on there in two halves. So I'll give it a try first before I cut any new ones. I'll make sure that this is not going to work. Might be easier because sometimes a large piece is harder to get started. So we'll try it. Might be a good mistake. All right, so I'm going to start with this big side window. That went fairly easy. Just kind of work it down in there. It helps if you've got a little smooth deal you can kind of squeegee it in there with. Get it to lay down good. Okay, that looks pretty good. Try the other side. And on this window, I rounded these corners. I could have left them square, but they're going to work out okay. You just kind of have to place it on there as close as you can get it. Sometimes you can kind of pressure it over if it's not quite fitting right. I like to hit it with a Q-tip to get the main body of it stuck to the window, and then go back and lay these corners down with the dental tool. I guess that's a dental tool. Sounds like somebody's using their chainsaw today. It's a pretty day out. We've had a bunch of cold days and it's a pretty day out, so people are working outside. Okay, that's got those two windows. Pretty good. Then we have two small windows and the two windshield pieces on the front, and this small window on the back. Let me go ahead and see if I can get that small one done. Sometimes you can't get the tweezers to let go of the tape. So you can use a toothpick or whatever you got to get that to lay in there. There's also a windshield wiper on these windows, even on this rear window. And sometimes that kind of holds your tape away from the surface of the glass. But if you work with it a little bit, it'll usually settle down and be okay. Trying not to get in the way of the camera. I don't know if I'm doing a good job of that or not. Alright, that's pretty good. Now let's see if I can get I'm just looking at those windshield pieces. Those are too big, they're too long. Let's see if they're the right width. Yeah, they look like they're a little bit too wide. Let's see how one of these side windows fits to that windshield. That's a little too wide too, so we'll make us a new windshield piece. That's fitting pretty good on that window. Right in there's where that little windshield wiper is. But that's fitting pretty good. The way I got these sizes, I just took my digital calipers and measured the windows both directions, and somehow I ended up screwing up on the windshield, but we'll do those over. See if we can get this other small window. And you can kind of just crease that in there a little bit. Get it to stick down good. Alright, we got one more right back here, and then we'll have to go cut some new windshields. This tape I'm using is a Tamiya brand 1.5" wide masking tape, It's very thin, and it has a light adhesive that sticks good, but is easy to relocate. Try to get it over the opening of the glass as close as you can before you try to make it stick. But this is the best way I've ever found to mask windows. Let the machine do the cutting, and because it's very difficult to cut that by hand. The old days we would just put a piece of tape over the hole and try to work our way around it with a sharp X-Acto blade, but that's pretty tedious and time consuming. And it's easy to scratch the glass with the X-Acto blade. It's pretty difficult to do, so this is much better. There we are. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 windows done. All we got left is the 2 windshield pieces. The GP30 has a V-shaped windshield. I think later they took that out and made it a flat one piece of glass. But in this version it's got the V shape and it's 2 pieces of glass. So I will remeasure these and we will cut some new tape to fit. And then I'm going to work on putting those 2 hood pieces on here. So I'll be back. Before I cut new windshield pieces, I'm going to try these 2 hood halves and see if I'm going to have to make one solid piece or not. But I want to try these halves and see how it goes. It might be easier. Upside down. That looks pretty close. Needs to be moved over at the back just a little bit. Sometimes you can just kind of scoot it a little bit. Still needs to go over at the back. Not bad. But I think it needs more. That looks good. Let's see what we can do with the other side here. That's kind of ticklish. Boy, I think that's going to be all right. Yeah. Actually, that was easier than a one piece. There we have it. It might leave a little stripe of blue down the middle where that seam is, so I might put a little small piece on top of that seam. That'll keep that hopefully from bleeding through the crack there. There we go. Gotta make sure it's sticking back here. I think that's going to work. So all I got to really do is make 2 windshield pieces. So I'll go do that real quick. Well, I thought I had the camera on during that sequence. And I went over there to turn it off, and it was already off. But anyway, I got these windshields in.